One of the most important parts of any sort of aesthetic case is the mock-up. And whilst we can get technicians to do wax-ups and digital smile designs, many times we need to correct these, or we may have a patient where we don't like the mock-up and we have to do it again from scratch, or from some cases there may be a case where we don't have the time, or it's an emergency or something. So the ability to do a mock-up in a relatively fast time frame is an incredibly important skill. But more importantly than that, if you can do a mock-up, you can also adjust your wax up, you can adjust your digital smile design, and if you start moving into ceramics, you can adjust your ceramics because the skill is the same. So once you build up the bulk of the tooth, the first thing I want to do is level the incisal edges and then flatten the face of the tooth. So most of the time people have trouble with their aesthetics because the face of the tooth is not flat. Once we get the face of the tooth flat and the emergence profile out of the gum fairly subtle, then we cut the vertical embrasures. So you have to do this very carefully because it's very easy to give the tooth a cant. Then once I have the vertical embrasures and some incisal embrasures, then I'm going to draw the line angles. And what a tooth is, it's a flat surface with a curved edge that curves into the line angle. And so the line angle really shows us where to start rounding the tooth into the interproximal embrasure. Now, on a model like this, I'm using a burr, but on a tooth, I'll actually use discs much more. On a model, if you use the disc, it tends to tear up the rubber gum tissue. So it's really a formula. So start with flattening the front, then the incisal edges, then cut those vertical embrasures, then start to cut in the line angles. So draw the lines on with a pencil, cut in the line angles. You can see here I'm doing it twice. I've done it once and now I'm refining it and doing it again. And then we round the incisal edges to get incisal embrasures. And really then we're looking at the shape of the incisals. So here we continue on, and often to get really nice embrasures you actually have to trim the lingual of the tooth as well as the buccal. So you can see here I'm going on the lingual side of the tooth because when you look at, say, a canine from the front or a lateral incisor, much of the shape that you're seeing is actually the lingual surface of the tooth. So once I have that bulk shape done, then I'm looking at the surface texturing if I want to do that. And remember that we tend to focus on the grooves that we're going to cut in the buccal surface of the tooth, but really what we're trying to build is these prominent lobes or these convex lobes. So when you look at a tooth, you don't actually see the deep parts, you're seeing the prominent parts of the tooth. And so whilst we are cutting in grooves into the tooth, we're really focusing on how those grooves make the prominent or the convex parts of the tooth look. Once we have that shape, then simple polish, and now we have a mock-up ready to make a stent for our aesthetic cases. Thank you very much for listening, and feel free to share this case.